Hi, this is Phil Rosenthal from Somebody Feed Phil, and you're listening to me with the great Tenn Buick on All Grown Ups SYKE.
I'm all grown up. SYKE.
Our guest today is a legendary writer, producer, director, author, world traveler, aficionado of the culinary arts, the creator of one of the most beloved family sitcoms of all time, a man who is exactly like Anthony Bourdain if he was afraid of everything. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my friend, Phil Rosenthal.
Oh, the crowd goes crazy.
Hey, Phil, how you doing today, my man?
It's good to see you, Tenn. It's been a few years.
It's been a few years.
Have you told the people how we met?
I'm going to do that right now.
Do it.
So we had dinner together at the cheese store in Beverly Hills.
Why?
And that was because you had launched a little promo on Instagram for Somebody Feed Phil. You wanted to see who could make a creative sort of advertisement promo spot for Somebody Feed Phil. I did a rap for it, and you loved it.
We should drop it in right here.
Oh, we should. That's a great idea.
This is how I met Tenn.
From Queens out to Hollywood, who's that guy? Chilling out in Bangkok, eating pad thai, snacking on a banh mi in Ho Chi Minh. If you wanna know the good spots, go see him. He'll tell you where the food is so good that you will never leave. Get some shakshuka from the dock up in Tel Aviv. Never been to Portugal? Well, you gotta. Pit stop in Lisbon for pastéis de nata. If it's good food, he would never miss a trip. Learning how to eat crawfish from the Mississippi. Sipping mezcal down in Mexico. Grab tacos de carnitas from the best Paramo. So grab your main squeeze to Netflix and chill. Good food, good times. It's Somebody Feed Phil.
I was saving this for the end of the podcast, but I'll say it. I'll say it right now. That for me, Phil, was in my journey as an entertainer, as an actor and a musician, is really part of my highlight reel. You know, the way that you regard you meeting Don Rickles and the way that you regard you meeting your heroes.
Yeah.
That was that for me.
Oh,
so,
thanks.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to say that again and again.
I loved that dinner. I loved meeting you and our other friend Jess. And I was with our good friend Ben Bruno. Who's responsible for what you see before you.
For this bod.
Yeah, this doesn't happen by itself, by the way. That was a really fun night. We should do something like it again, I think.
Absolutely. Well, I would love to have you over to our place. I would love, like, if you and Monica came over.
Well, listen, you and your wife, your new wife, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
This is a recent occurrence that you got married.
Very recent, this past October.
And you guys should all check out Tenn's Instagram because there's footage from that wedding that's the most spectacular thing I ever saw.
Oh, thanks, Phil.
It's amazing. Where did you get married?
It was in New York, in Long Island.
Wow. And you waited till after COVID, obviously.
We did, yeah. We got postponed 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah.
Did you guys get COVID too?
You know, we did, but never around the wedding time. But
Yeah.
what it was like, when it seemed like there was a temporary reprieve, you'd have like a Delta variant or this variant. And, you know, we've got elder folks in the family and stuff. And we just wanted everyone to be...
Got to be careful.
Yeah. And I wanted everyone to be maskless. So I didn't want to do it at a time when that would be dangerous.
Yes.
You know, because now that I can look back at the photos and the videos,
Yes.
It's just nice to see like everybody's smiling faces.
It looks spectacular. How long did you rehearse your dance?
About a year.
A year?
About a year, yeah.
So Monica and I did a dance too. We rehearsed a little bit, but I could tell a year's worth of work went into that.
Is there video footage of your dance?
There is, and we play it. I post it every April 22nd on our anniversary.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna look out for it then.
Yeah. Coming up.
Yeah, coming up. Okay,
Yeah.
That's amazing. One of the things that was very intriguing to me, where I wanted to start here.
Yeah.
This is you. You're freshly graduated. You're in from Hofstra. You're in New York City.
Yeah.
You're writing with your friends.
Yeah.
You guys sold a screenplay to HBO in '88 for $70,000.
More money than I could have ever dreamed of.
Right.
Because I went from being 100 air
Right.
to 1,000 air.
Right.
And I found as an actor, a struggling actor in New York, which I was from 1981 to 1988.
Yeah.
Okay. That I ate tuna fish and hot dogs and pizza for dinner every night. And then as soon as I was a writer, I ate whatever I wanted.
Right. Yeah, the budget was different.
Yes. So that I split that money with my partner, who we wrote a screenplay together with. And when I called my parents, my father was like, this is the fruition of the American dream.
Yeah.
That anyone can make it. He thought this was making it.
Yeah.
And my mother got on the phone. Why is your father so excited? Why is he so happy? And I told her I sold a screenplay with my friend for $70,000.
Yeah.
And the phone went silent. I said, "Are you there?" And she goes, "Do you know we've worked our whole lives to have that money in the bank?"
Yeah.
It was almost like, "You little bastard, we work our butts off our whole lives, and you just scribble like some funny crap on a
boom,
piece of
70K,
paper."
yeah.
I'm like, I can't argue, Ma. I can't argue. I didn't make the system that says this is worth more than what a school teacher makes,
right?
Or which is criminal.
It is.
But I'm keeping the money, Ma.
Not complaining.
Yes.
Well, so at that point in time, how did that come about in terms of like, did you guys have a writer's agent that pitched that to HBO for you, or did you?
So my friend who I wrote the screenplay with, his name was Alan Kirschenbaum. He had an agent. He was already a writer.
Yeah.
But he was very frustrated with the sitcom that he was writing on. He didn't have any say. He didn't think it was good. And so he showed up at my door one day and said, "Let's write a screenplay. We have total control. Nobody's paying us to write it. You can do whatever you want." And this is what I always advise young people is just write.
Yeah.
Just make the movie. Just make the podcast. We're now born with a studio in our pockets.
Right on the phone.
You have it on your watch.
There you go.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you have it. You have these tools. There's no excuse not to make it. You can't say it's money. You can't say it's because you have the equipment you need
I fully agree.
to make something and post something so that other people might see it.
Yeah.
You may not get attention immediately, but
Right.
who does?
Exactly. It's a persistence game.
It's a persistence game. I have a friend of mine. Do you know who Drew Binsky is?
That rings a bell.
Okay, because he's huge on YouTube.
Okay,
and he
yeah.
started by traveling, and he was, in his 20s when he started, traveling and making his own videos and cutting them together. And slowly but surely they started catching on because he wanted to visit every single country on the earth. And he's much more adventurous than I am.
Right.
I need to be comfortable because I'm very old. So I need to, I need a hotel with a pillow on the bed. That's what I need when I travel. I'll go anywhere, but I must have at least this comfort at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'm not sleeping on a sand dune in the Sahara overnight.
Right.
He will. He'll sleep on top of a coal car on a train across the Sahara. He'll do that.
Yeah.
And he takes video.
Yeah.
Starting from his phone and then a little camera and then a little more. Now he has a team and he has millions of followers. That's how it's done.
I love it.
If you really care about making it, you can do it. You just have to make it a priority.
The power is yours. I agree with that fully. I mean,
Right?
It's the era of the self-made artist. There are no more excuses for it.
Exactly. But that's how it was 30, 40 years ago for me as well.
Yeah.
Because as an actor out there in New York, I always tell this story that I was a very big star in high school. Very big. There was no bigger star in high school than me. So much so that they encouraged me to go to theater school for college, right?
Yeah.
So I went to Hofstra University. I was a very big star at Hofstra University. Then I moved into New York City. Nobody called and told them what a big star I was.
They hadn't gotten the memo.
So now I'm going to these cattle call auditions,
Yeah.
which literally means anyone can show up.
Oh, I know the vibe.
Anyone can say they're an actor
Yep.
and show up for an audition. Yes, I'd like to be in a movie too.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to be on TV too.
Oh, yeah.
So we're all there, all idiots, with and your chance of getting anything. I couldn't even get an agent.
Right.
I couldn't get noticed
Yeah.
until some friends of mine and I wrote a show for ourselves to be in.
You found a way.
That's the only way.
Yeah.
They're not waiting for you.
Yeah.
Why would they be?
Absolutely, yeah.
Sure, you can walk into an audition and be the exact right thing that they're looking for at that moment, but chances are they're going to give the part to somebody who's done this before,
Facts.
right?
Facts.
So what do? You make your own thing.
Yeah.
You literally write your own ticket. That's not just a saying that's been around forever.
Yeah.
It is the truth.
It is.
So that was it for me. We did this play, and at the same year, I mean, it was almost like someone upstairs was saying, you should be a writer.
Yeah.
Right? So here comes my friend that says, let's write a screenplay. The play that we did didn't make any money for anybody, really.
Yeah.
But the screenplay was oh, I see, I could actually eat if I
could
do
do
this.
this, yeah.
Yes. And so I moved to Hollywood.
Yep.
And then got another partner because my first partner, he was already...
Your friend from Colombia, that is.
Yes.
Yeah.
My friend Oliver Goldstick and I, we joined up to write a spec script. You know what that is? A spec script means just on speculation. Kind of the way my other friend and I wrote the screenplay. So now we're going to write a sitcom. So what is it going to be about? Well, years before, one of my odd jobs right after college was I was a security guard at the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
I was going to ask about... Okay. Amazing.
So that's 1981. I'm going back in time. In 1981, I was a guard, and at one point I worked the graveyard shift, which is midnight to 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
I thought I could do this.
Yeah.
I thought I could have my regular job during the day and do midnight to 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
Then I was cast in a play, too. So now I'm doing performances in between the two jobs. And on my third day of this, they couldn't find me in the museum. I had not returned to my post. And they found me at 5 a.m. I was asleep on a bed as part of an exhibit in a period room in the American wing on the third floor. It's called the Hart Room, H-A-R-T.
Yeah.
And it's a period room like from the Old West. There's a little cradle, there's a little desk, there's a light, there's a bed.
Yeah.
Small bed. They found me asleep on it.
Wow.
Because I was delusional.
You were grinding around the clock.
And I was on cold medication. So I was out of my mind,
God.
literally out of my mind.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the head of the security watch said, listen, he called me in his office. To me, it's a bed. To you, it's a bed. To them, it's a work of art. You're fired.
That's an amazing way to get fired.
It is. I was my roommate who worked at the information desk at the museum said, I'm both proud and ashamed of you at the same time. It was humiliating to be fired from the Metropolitan Museum of Art because I truly loved it there and I would never purposely hurt a work of art.
Right.
What do you do with that? I don't know. I just hopped from odd job to odd job. I managed a deli. I worked as a temp. I worked for a movie company. I did all kinds of day jobs.
I heard that you were a telemarketer for farming implements.
That was my very first job, even before the museum. I had no idea, graduating with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in theater, what I was going to do with that degree.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I can talk on the phone.
Yeah.
I guess I'm good for that. And that was humiliating. I lasted 4 months at that job.
Did you sell any implements?
Maybe twice.
Okay.
Most people tell you to go enjoy yourself, but not in those words. Anyway, now I'm in Hollywood. We got to write a sample script.
Right.
So the show Roseanne was big at the time. This was 1989.
Yeah.
Let's write a spec Roseanne.
Yeah.
What should it be about? We think, and I go, what if the John Goodman character, the husband, they need extra money.
Yeah.
He's not making enough at his regular job. And he gets a job on the graveyard shift at the local art museum. And he falls asleep on a 300-year-old bed. And we wrote that, and we started sending it around, and all the agents around town said, what an imagination.
Wow.
And we got hired instantly. So there's the lesson. You never know.
Yeah.
And I tell young people, you're not entitled to great jobs immediately.
Yep.
Go, in fact, it will serve you well to have all the odd jobs you can have.
Agreed.
Especially, number one, for life experience.
Yep.
Teaches you how to be in the world. It teaches you how to be with other people.
Yep.
It teaches you a lot of things just about life.
Yeah.
But let's say you want to get into the arts in any capacity.
Yeah.
Well, you can't write about real life unless you have one.
You have it, so it gives you the source material.
It gives you your source material. My whole career is built on my source material.
Yeah.
My parents.
Right.
My relationship with my wife. My relationship with my kids. With my brother. It's all in Raymond.
Yeah.
And beyond that, into Somebody Feed Phil, you see it.
Yep.
It's always been that way for me. Why? Because it keeps working.
Yeah.
Write what you know is not just a cliche.
Right.
No one can write about you better than you. And we all have this thing, this power, superpower. All we are is everything that's happened to us filtered through our heads.
Yeah.
Meaning the way we think.
Yeah.
That defines you. That's who you are. Everything that's happened to you, filtered through the way you think.
Yeah.
That's what makes you a valid writer or teller of tales or director or artist of any kind.
Yeah.
Or singer or rapper or anything.
Yeah.
That's going to differentiate you from me and you from the next guy and the next girl. It doesn't matter. You think you have nothing to offer. It's just me. No, that's everything.
That's everything. Yeah.
You can't write me. I mean, yes, if you're a science fiction writer, you can create worlds.
Yep.
I can't. So if I couldn't create worlds, why not write about the world I know?
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't mean you can't have any imagination and create stuff, but this is a very solid base from which to work.
But the point is you have the source material. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That initial screenplay that you sold,
Yes.
Is it true that it was called Shulman and it was about a private detective?
That's right.
Did it ever go anywhere? And
No.
Does it still exist?
It does. So the way Hollywood works is sometimes they'll buy a lot of scripts.
Oh, yeah.
And then they don't do anything with them.
They just, yeah.
This is one of those.
Oh my God, I would love to read it at some point. I think something should be done with it. I would.
From when I'm 28 years old?
We have to know. We have to know.
So basically, Alan and I grew up in Rockland County, New York.
Right.
And we had, we understood the suburban world.
Yeah.
Okay? Because it's about a half an hour away from New York City, but it may as well be in the country, right? So one of our neighbors was named Millard Shulman, and we just always thought that was a good name. So we named our suburban detective Shulman, Millard Shulman. We loved it, and we wrote it.
Detective-y.
Do you know who Alan Arkin is, the actor?
Of course, yeah.
So we wrote it for him.
Oh,
so
wow.
this is, a long time ago.
Yeah.
But he was already, he's been acting since the 1960s.
Yeah, at the time he was the guy, yeah.
Well, we gave it to HBO, and they said, we love the script. Who do you see as Shulman? And we said, Alan Arkin.
Yeah.
And they said, well, Alan Arkin doesn't open a movie.
Right.
Like he's not a movie star.
Yeah.
And then they kind of lost interest.
Get out.
Yeah, that was it. It was like, oh, you wrote it for him? Not interested. I don't understand. We can't talk about other people?
Can't pivot? Yeah.
By the way, months later, we get a phone call. Someone has read the script and wants to meet us to play the lead. I said, oh, that's nice. Who? Jerry Lewis.
Wow.
So we had lunch with Jerry Lewis. If you look in the encyclopedia for the opposite of Alan Arkin, the answer is Jerry Lewis. But we took the lunch, and it was iconic and eventful and hilarious, but we were never going to do the movie with him.
Right.
Nor would anyone else, by the way.
Yeah.
So that was just a great life experience to have that lunch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fast forward to when you got to Los Angeles and you did the Robert Mitchum sitcom.
You're playing all the hits, Tenn.
Yeah. You did Baby Talk, and eventually you got into Coach.
It's amazing that anyone would look at me after those two shows. Because they were both terrible. And they
both based
but they
on,
did teach. Every experience can teach you something.
Yeah.
You can learn just as much from what not to do as you can from what to do.
Yeah.
Right? So you at least were getting an education in how television works.
Sure.
Which you can learn from any show.
Yeah.
Right? Even a terrible one.
Yeah.
And we knew, even though this was my first show and I was thrilled to get a job, I knew the show was terrible.
Right.
Robert Mitchum had no business starring in a sitcom.
None at all.
For you young people out there, ask your parents who Robert Mitchum is, and they'll say someone who should never be in a sitcom. Right? But I did love meeting him.
Yeah,
and that was another life experience. He was a great actor. He was in a movie that I recommend to everybody called Night of the Hunter. It's one of the best movies ever made.
Love it, yeah.
Right? You know it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great. See, you're kind of a film buff, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if you remember this, but one of the first things that we bonded over was our mutual love of The Honeymooners.
Yes.
And I remember you were shocked that I was like so invested, but it was because my father brought me up on all that stuff, you know?
You had a good dad.
I had a great dad.
Is he alive?
He is, yeah.
Oh, good. Then it's not had. You have a great dad.
Wow, yeah, you're right. That was
But he was a great dad as you were growing up,
correct.
too.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say, yeah. But he remains to be a wonderful father.
Well, tell him I said hi and that he's a great dad because he introduced you to the Honeymooners.
I will tell him that. I will tell him that. When you got onto Coach, by the time you started working on Coach, it was already a hit, correct?
Yes, I entered year 6.
Right.
Out of like 10 seasons, and I was there 6, 7, and 8, I believe.
Right.
And then in that 8th season, I got a video cassette of a comedian who had been on David Letterman one time. He had been trying to get on Letterman for 12 years.
Yeah.
And from this one 6-minute appearance, David Letterman said there should be a sitcom for this guy. And since Letterman had a production deal at CBS, they literally went around looking for a writer to create a show for Ray Romano.
Yeah. When you were on Coach, like when you got that job and you're there, let's say it's like, it's year 2.
Yes.
I'm curious as to what your mindset was at that time in terms of, on the one hand, you must have been, of course, thrilled. Like, hey, I came out here to do this, and now I'm writing on a hit show.
Yes.
And this is amazing.
I worked for 3 or 4 years on bad shows.
Right.
And now we're going to be on a show that people have heard of.
People love.
Yes.
Right? And you have that mindset.
Yes.
At that time, you hadn't met Ray yet. You hadn't gotten the tape yet.
Right.
So were you thinking, one day I'm going to run my own show and I'm going to create my own thing? Or were you just like, I'm enjoying what's happening right now and I don't even know what's next?
You get on a track where you start as a baby writer.
Yeah.
Okay. They literally call you a baby writer. And I had a partner at the time. So I was half a baby.
Right.
Not even a full baby.
Yeah.
And you hope as the years go on that every season you will get a kind of promotion.
Yeah.
So you go from staff writer to co-story editor to story editor to co-producer to producer to executive producer. All those things just mean the hierarchy of writers with experience. That's all it means.
Yeah.
There is one executive producer who is the showrunner, usually, on every show. And that's the boss.
Yeah.
So, yes, you think that if you start as staff writer and you see yourself going up the ladder, that one day you'll be the executive producer, showrunner, creator of your own show. That seems to be the dream when you start the business, because it's just like any business. You work for other people, and hopefully you'll work for you.
Yeah.
And you'll have people working for or with you.
Yeah.
That's the dream. And so I got that dream when I wrote the pilot for Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
Now, you don't know if anyone at CBS, let's say, is even going to like your script to take it to the next step.
Or even care,
Or even care. So many scripts get written that are paid for, just like my screenplay.
Yeah.
And they're never heard from again.
Yeah.
Well, somebody at CBS did like the script.
Yeah.
So we're going to make a pilot. Yahoo, if they like the cast. So now we start casting.
Yep.
And everything has to be right. I always say all the planets have to line up just for one of these things to get on the air.
So true.
Just to get on TV.
Yeah.
Let alone all the other things that have to happen for us to stay on for 9 years.
Yeah.
And win awards and be loved by the people and go into syndication, which means you're on forever.
Yeah.
All over the world, every day.
Yep.
I don't know if that world exists anymore. But, people who are lucky as me, the people who did Frasier and Friends and Seinfeld and The Office, we got in and out of that business at its peak.
You sure did.
It's not like hitting the jackpot. It's like hitting the jackpot over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because every single step of the way, the jackpot could end.
Right.
Right? And then the blessing of another year, just not even for money, but just to do this work that you love.
Right.
With people that you love.
Yeah.
Which I wish for everyone.
Yeah.
That's the greatest gift.
That's the holy grail.
Work at what you love with people you love.
Yeah.
That is everything.
That's the move, yeah.
Right? Aside from of course, your family. But what I do is I combine it all now.
You sure do.
This show, the Food and Travel show, is the culmination of everything I love in life. It combines my love of making a show with family, friends, food, travel, and laughs.
Yeah.
Those are my priorities in life. Okay? And now they're all part of this show. It's very personal to me.
Yeah,
I think
I can see it, yeah.
I think it has to be for it to connect with anyone else.
Sure.
When you put your heart and soul in something, that's the only chance you have of connecting with someone else.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like falling in love.
You've mentioned that, for example, the thing that got you on the air from the pilot was the Fruit of the Month Club bit.
That's right.
What showed everyone that, Ray's family was crazy.
Yes.
And it was because it was so specific, that bit, but it wasn't a bit. It was from your life. You drew it directly from your life.
From my parents. I gave my parents the Fruit of the Month Club, and they reacted as if I sent them a box of plutonium.
Right. You have that, and it was for that exact reason that when season 9 was coming on, you felt like you were maybe running out of ideas, and you didn't want to.
We did run out of ideas.
Jump
we were
the
done.
shark, right?
That's right. You want to get off the stage before someone says, hey, you should get off the stage.
First rule of showbiz, right?
That's right.
You were running out of ideas, and you wanted to keep it authentic.
Yeah.
And I saw an interview in 2011
Yeah.
that you did, and
Yeah.
you said, now at this point, maybe you should live some more life,
Yeah.
and eventually you have the show about the older guy
That's
who's
right.
different life experiences.
That's right. I'm doing it now. This is it. Somebody Feed Phil is the older guy doing his life experience.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
It.
That's what I wanted to
The
hear.
sensibility is
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
If you watch Raymond,
Yeah.
it's almost like there's a sensibility in Seinfeld
Yeah.
that you can see the guy behind that show
Yeah.
in Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
So this is my version, except my version would be called I Can't Curb My Enthusiasm.
Yeah. You said that coming up with the name was like a little bit of a process, and there
Yes.
was an interview where you said, and I wasn't sure if it was a joke or not, so I
Yeah.
want to check.
Yeah.
You said that one of Ray's suggestions was Raymond. Is that true?
Oh, for Everybody Loves Raymond. Yeah. So in the original pilot script, which I didn't have a title for, it just said Ray Romano Project. Okay. I had something that Ray's actual brother actually said to
Right.
him, and I put it in the pilot.
Yeah.
Which was he's jealous of Ray, and he sees an award that Ray won for writing. And this actually happened to Ray. It was a Cable Ace Award for comedy.
yeah.
And his brother came in. He's a police sergeant. He goes, I go to work and people shoot at me. Ray goes to work, people do the wave. He goes, it never ends for Raymond. Everybody loves Raymond. Okay. So I put that in the pilot script. I thought there's no better way to show how jealous this brother is.
Yeah.
My wife read the pilot, and she goes, that's the name of the show.
Oh, so it was Monica.
Yeah. She said, that should be the name of the show.
Wow. Okay.
And I said, it's pretty good because, first of all, it harkens back to I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of show that I'm trying to do. An old-fashioned type of sitcom.
Right.
Right? In front of an audience, with the laughs, with, a kind of old-fashioned feel to it.
Yeah.
Well, he read that and he goes, that can't be the name. And I said, no. He goes, no, what? I don't want that pressure that everybody's supposed to love me. I said, well, it's kind of sarcastic from the brother's point of view.
Yeah.
And I like the specificity of that.
Oh, yeah.
And I like that it harkens back to this style of sitcom. He goes, but they're going to be gunning for me. I could just see the critics. Everybody Loves Raymond? I don't think so. Not this critic, right? So he's afraid of that. So he started coming up with names. Alternate names, which we then framed and somewhere in his house.
Oh, that's amazing.
The alternate names, like Raymond's Tree.
Oh, wow.
Raymond was one of them. That Raymond guy was my favorite. So he called he was so upset about the notion that this might be the name that he called the president of the network. And he said, can't we change the name? And he said, Ray, it's a good name. People like it. I'll tell you what, if you're a top 10 show next year, we can change it to whatever you want it to be, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure enough, we become their top sitcom, if not their top show of any kind. And Ray calls the president of CBS, and he goes, you said I could change the name. He goes, you can't change it now. You're a top 10 show.
That's
some insight into how networks are as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I read a New York Times article from 1996 where they said that Queens was the original location because that's where Ray's from, and that's where you and I are from as well.
That's right.
But that the CBS executives wanted it to be Long Island because they felt it had broader appeal. Is that true? And if so, do you think that it ultimately made a difference?
They said, don't make it so... Don't set it in New York. Most of the country is not New York. They don't even maybe like New York.
Yeah.
Can you set it somewhere else?
Yeah.
So I said, because we were going to set it in Queens.
Yeah.
I said, Long Island? They said, great. And I'm like, Long Island is attached to Queens. It's literally...
the same thing, yeah.
You're literally there in 5 minutes.
Yep.
If without traffic.
Yeah.
They said, great. I said, this is not a hill to die on.
Right.
You know, Queens or Long Island.
Yeah.
Who cares? Does the show work is the main question.
Sure, yeah.
Are you laughing? And is there something you're taking away from each episode?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all that matters.
I've heard your story that when you guys were early on in the episode with the IQ test,
Yeah.
that was your first big laugh that made you realize the
Yes.
show was going to go somewhere
Yes.
when Deborah dumps the ice cream on Ray's lap and you said, we're all going to be millionaires because of that audience laugh.
That was my joke. But it turned out to be true. It was episode 3.
Yeah.
Now, you have to remember, when the studio audience is coming and you're filming episode 3, the show hasn't been on TV yet.
So they have no context
They
for
have
it.
no context for the show. They don't know these characters.
Yeah.
You have to start at square one every episode.
Yeah.
They may not know or care about these people.
Right.
So to get this kind of character laugh,
Oh, it's an accomplishment. Yeah.
that's the signal that you might have something here.
Special. Yeah.
That's all I meant.
Yeah.
There might be not even we're going to be literal millionaires, but that we might be on to something.
Yeah.
Because they are relating to the husband-wife dynamic in
Correct.
the show. That's all.
So I'm curious as to what I've never heard is what were your biggest laughs in the writer's room?
Oh God,
You know-
stuff I can't say. So the thing about, we're about to get onto a subject that I'm very passionate about.
Yeah.
You have to be allowed the freedom to say literally anything you want in that writer's room.
Yeah.
There should be a sign at the door of the writer's room.
Yeah.
Abandon all hope, all who enter.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're going to be the crudest, most vulgar, most insane. The joke to us is, here's stuff you're not allowed to say.
Yeah.
And you say it, and no one is spared.
Yeah.
We will make fun of your mother.
Yeah.
We will make fun of anyone's kid.
Nothing's off limits.
Nothing. And it has to be that way. Why? Not because we are pigs.
Yeah.
But because we are literally freeing up our heads so that comedy can come in.
Yeah.
So no limits. And we get it all out of our system so that the stuff we can put on TV comes also.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you have to know where the line is so you can go up to it without crossing over into terrible taste.
Right.
But all that terrible taste actually is the joke. So the reason I think it's a valid subject to discuss
Yeah.
is because we've now reached a point where you're not allowed, without fear of getting canceled,
So true.
to say the things you're not supposed to say.
Yeah.
The only people that I see that can get away with it, South Park.
Right.
But how come everybody understands that they're just kidding?
I don't know. Maybe it's because they've pre-established.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're grandfathered in.
The grandfathered in. Yeah.
But shouldn't comedians be allowed
Yeah.
to say whatever the hell they want? And if you don't like it, okay, don't come to the show
Yeah.
or turn off the show.
Yeah.
That's not for me.
Yep.
It's always been that way.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
But to take away someone's career just because you don't like it,
yeah.
that's not right.
I agree with you 100%. Everything's contextual.
Yes.
You know, people will take a small clip and then all of a sudden they say, well, this guy said this, so this means that this is who he is as a person. This is probably what he supports.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a disaster.
It's always been a tenet of comedy that you say the wrong thing.
Right.
Because it's the wrong thing to say, and that is actually the joke.
That's why it's funny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I do it to my kids all the time.
Right. Yeah.
And they're like, Dad, you can't say that. I'm like, you're laughing.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
I know I can't say that. That's why I'm saying it.
Yeah, that's the joke.
Yes, because it's completely out of character for me to say.
Yes. Yes.
Right? That's why you're laughing.
Yeah.
It's not, that's not how I am as a human being.
Right.
I'm trying to make you laugh.
Yes.
That's all.
Agreed.
You should be allowed to show a character.
Yeah.
Archie Bunker said all the wrong things.
And that's what made him hilarious.
And we laughed
Yeah.
because we knew he's an idiot.
Yeah.
And he says the wrong things.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, unfortunately, a lot of people, believe it or not, they loved him and loved his philosophy.
And because they agreed with him.
Agreed with him.
Yeah.
Just as many people.
Yeah.
Agreed with Archie Bunker and thought Meathead was the stupid one.
Right.
Same with Colbert.
Right.
Doing his character originally.
Yeah.
Of the right-wing pundit.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Of course it was satire.
Yeah.
But it didn't work.
But some people thought,
Some people thought.
we're like, oh, this guy's spitting
The
facts.
Bush White House invited him to speak at the correspondence dinner because they thought he was one of them.
Yeah.
And then he did the bravest act of comedy in our lifetime, which was he insulted the President of the United States to his face in a room full of his followers.
That was extremely brave.
You saw it.
Yeah.
I tell everyone, you want to see the bravest act of comedy in your lifetime?
It's that.
Go on YouTube and look at Stephen Colbert, White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yeah.
He bombs in the room because they are against him, because they are suddenly realizing, oh, we've made a terrible mistake.
They know what his mission
booking
is there.
This guy.
Yeah.
They didn't realize it was satire.
Yeah. Which is hilarious.
It is hilarious on the one hand, but a little scary on the other.
Yeah, it is.
This is the thing about a lot of extremists.
Yeah.
They don't really have a sense of humor.
No, not at all, actually.
And I say it about the left and the right.
You'll find that all over the internet. I want to talk about what life was like for you during that era, like just like the zeitgeist of a successful showrunner, of a successful show in the 90s and early 2000s. You know, you must have had opportunities to cross paths, rub elbows with people that you never imagined possible while you were a kid.
Yes.
You know, and I've heard funny things like you told Rob Lowe that Bruce Springsteen didn't even know your show.
Oh no, he was the reason. He was the reason for that moment of humiliation. Rob Lowe. I in the year 2000.
Yeah.
We're the number one sitcom on television. I get an offer to go downstairs to his first. I think he was the first act to play the Staples Center.
Yeah.
It was opening night of the Staples Center, Bruce Springsteen concert, year 2000.
Yeah.
My friend goes, you want to meet Bruce? I'm like, do I want to meet Bruce? He's my absolute hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to meet him. Come downstairs after the show. Really? Oh my God. I'm a nervous wreck. I go downstairs. I see Rob Lowe, who I kind of know a little bit. Phil, how you doing? What are you doing here? I said, I'm going to meet Bruce. He goes, you haven't met Bruce? I said, no, I'm just waiting for him. He goes, come here. And he grabs me and pulls me over to Bruce Springsteen. I go, no, because my friend, but I can't say anything because now I'm face to face with Bruce Springsteen.
Right, what are you going to do?
And Rob Lowe goes, Bruce, this is my friend Phil. He created Everybody Loves Raymond. And Bruce Springsteen goes, what's that? And I look at Rob Lowe to say, gee, thanks, Rob. This is exactly how I dreamed it would go. And Rob starts backtracking and going, oh, it's a very popular sitcom. He turns it to Woody Allen. It's a very top show, you know, on CBS. And here's how great Bruce Springsteen is. He goes, without hesitating, he goes, well, now I'm going to watch because I know the guy.
That's amazing.
Right?
Wow, yeah.
So I just melted, and I go, it's okay. You don't have to watch.
That's amazing.
I'll still buy your records. and then we took a picture. We took a picture that is still in my wallet.
Oh, wow. Okay. You'll have to show it to me after.
Yeah. We blew it up and put it everywhere in the house, too. I'm surprised it's not here. But
did you take it on like a disposable camera or what?
It was a print camera. Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Before the iPhone.
Look at that. Wow.
It was pretty awesome. I became friendly with my heroes. So I got to be friendly with, and still I'm friendly with Norman Lear.
Wow.
Jim Brooks.
Wow.
You know, these are people like during the first year of Raymond, my phone rings in the writer's room and it's Norman Lear.
Wow.
And he goes, I hear we're fans of each other. And I said, I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of yours.
Yeah.
And he had heard, you know, I mention him in the press whenever I'm talking about the type of show.
Your inspirations.
Yeah. That I loved, All in the Family. I mean, I always say that all of TV can be separated into BN and AN, before Norman and after Norman.
Love it.
That All in the Family changed everything. So because now we were talking about issues that mattered in a sitcom.
Yeah.
That never happened before.
Sure.
Right? It was all fun silliness. But he was talking about stuff that mattered.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that aspect of the show that I wanted to do. I never felt I was smart enough to tackle like political issues and stuff.
Yeah.
But the characterizations in the show, the family dynamic in the show, and the characters of Archie and Edith, and you know, Sally Struthers' character and Rob Reiner's character. This was a family. That's what I got from All in the Family as a 10-year-old watching. With my parents, by the way. It was a show that we all watched together. And that I treasure all that time. Anyway, He says, should we have lunch? I said, yes, we should.
Wow.
And he goes, how's tomorrow? You want to meet me at Pinot in the Valley? I said, of course. He goes, I have someone else here who'd like to be at lunch too. Do you mind if I bring them? I said, bring whoever you want. I show up to lunch, and Norman Lear is sitting there with Carl Reiner.
Wow.
And I dropped dead.
I imagine, man.
But they were so sweet to me and so kind. They felt like my older relatives, right? And they treated me like relative. Maybe it's because we're all Jewish. Maybe it's because we have the same sensibility and we love the things we love.
Yeah.
I know I had their sensibility because they formed it in my head.
Correct, yeah.
I was emulating them.
Yeah.
The Dick Van Dyke Show, another huge influence. The way he wrote that show was he would say to the writers of the show, what happened at your house this week?
And that's what you did with
where
Raymond.
the story happened.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's what we do.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
That's where the stories are coming from.
If
you worked for me, your job was to go home, get in a fight with your wife, come back in and tell me about it. And then we make a show.
Absolutely, man.
Right? So that was that. So that and then from them, I got to have lunch with them over and over again. I'm still having lunch with Norman. Carl has passed, sadly. But I've had lunch with these guys, with Mel Brooks, with Neil Simon, the great Larry Gelbart, who also passed.
Neil Simon.
Yeah, Neil Simon, whose plays I had been in high school.
Right, because you were probably doing like Odd Couple and yeah, oh my God, yeah.
Yes, he was my, one of my
Well, you
idols.
played Felix or Oscar?
Played Oscar.
Wow, I would love to see you play Oscar.
But I could play Felix.
I bet you could, yeah.
I feel like, believe it or not, you age out of these parts that you always wanted to play. I now, the only Neil Simon play I could do now is The Sunshine Boys.
That's one I haven't read.
Well, watch the movie.
Okay.
The movie is phenomenal.
Okay, I will.
Walter Matthau and George Burns.
Already sold, yeah.
George Burns won an Oscar for that movie.
Wow, okay.
Best supporting actor. Yeah, it's a hilarious, great, touching movie. Probably his best, I would say.
Right?
Yeah.
I definitely know the shows that you were inspired by growing up. Right? I know you were watching The Honeymooners, Mary Tyler Moore, Dick Van Dyke,
That's
All
right.
in the Family.
Yeah.
Shows
Shows that were set on planet Earth.
Shows that
were believable as real life.
Right.
Not absolutely real life the way it would absolutely happen
But
every
it
time.
could happen.
That's it.
Yeah.
That was our motto.
Yeah. But during the time that Ray was on air, right? So like 90s, early 2000s, what, if anything, if you had time, what were you watching at that time and what did you like at that time? Were you watching stuff with your kids? Like were you into what your kids were watching? Like what were your shows at that time?
Well, there's a lot of shows that the kids love, and it's hard to find a lot of common ground.
Yeah.
But I remember The Simpsons being, and still is, one of those, right? I'm trying to think of the other ones. If I don't remember, it's only because this is what happens when you get older. I know they're there. I know we watched a lot of stuff and always have watched together a lot of things. I mean, now we get together and watch Succession because they're in their 20s.
Yeah.
And we watch whatever new stuff comes out. We just started this show, Beef, on Netflix to see what that's about. That's kind of fun. And then growing up, to be honest, I'm having trouble remembering.
That's okay.
But you know what? When you're running a show, you don't have a lot of time to watch a lot of other stuff.
That's kind of what I thought.
But I had to be, you asked what it was like to be in the zeitgeist. I felt like we were in the zeitgeist, but we weren't in the cool zeitgeist. In other words, the press, we didn't get a lot of press at the time. Sex and the City got a lot of press at the time.
Sure,
Friends always got a lot of press.
Yeah, it did.
These are the hip, cool shows.
Yeah.
We were not the hip, cool show.
Yeah.
Right? Was I jealous of them? Tiny bit. Not because I was trying, I didn't think they deserved that press, but I felt we could have a little.
Right.
The only time that the press really noticed the show was when we were leaving.
Wow.
Hey, this has been on for 9 years. It seems to have been a popular show.
I'm sure
That's what they
somebody
say.
liked it. Yeah.
Say goodbye now.
Man.
Right?
Yeah.
But that was when the whole cast was on Oprah.
Yeah.
We were all on Oprah.
Yep.
To say goodbye.
Yeah.
I don't even know if she ever watched the show.
Wow. That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did.
Thank you.
You were talking about meeting your heroes earlier. I'm curious, did you ever get to meet Art Carney before he passed away?
No, but we got word that he loved the show.
That's amazing. Well, at least you have that.
I do have that.
That's beautiful.
I'll never forget that.
Are you familiar with...
We just heard from, the great jazz pianist Oscar Peterson?
Yeah.
So we heard from his daughter recently that he loved the show and watched it all the time.
Wow.
So I can die happy because I listen to him almost every day.
Check that right off the
Right?
mark. Yeah. Oh my God.
So when you hear that your heroes like what you do, that's kind of everything.
It is everything. It is everything. Are you familiar with the Song of the Sewer?
The what?
The Song of the Sewer?
No.
I'm going to send it to you. It's in, I want to say like 53 or 54, Art Carney recorded, like in character as Ed Norton.
I need this.
Yeah. The Song of the Sewer.
You have to send that to me.
I will. I got you right after.
He was my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
You know, I heard an interview, I think it was with John Cleese, who I also got to meet.
You meet John Cleese?
Yeah.
Man,
But just by accident in a hotel.
But
I talked to them for like 20 minutes.
You referenced once a John
Yeah.
Cleese interview about like Manuel being the...
That's what I was about to say.
Oh, please.
That the
Yeah.
person, the character that people like the most in a show or
Yeah.
a movie
Yeah.
is the person with the least amount of power.
Right.
Because that's who they relate to the most and fall in love with the most.
Yeah.
The underdog character.
You're right.
So in The Honeymooners, it's Art Carney.
Yeah.
In Everybody Loves Raymond,
It's Robert.
It's the brother.
Yeah.
You know? It's not to say they don't like the other characters. It's just their heart goes with that one.
Everyone's inner insecurity
Yes.
relates there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I used to run around my house imitating Manuel.
That's hysterical.
Probably until I was 6 or 7. I would run around like, Mrs. Faulty, she go crazy.
Mrs. Faulty, she go crazy.
Kind of like you said, you said laughter was the currency in your household.
Yes, that's
it
right.
was like that for me too.
Yes.
If I could run around and do those imitations, which I came out the womb wanting to do,
Yes.
people were laughing. And then my parents or my grandparents would love to, when their relatives came over, they'd be like, oh, he's going to imitate all our family. I would do the Guyanese accent and
Yes.
and stuff. And they thought it was hilarious. So I definitely related to you when you said that. I have a few somewhat rapid fire Ray questions.
Do it.
There's 8 Christmas episodes, 8 Thanksgiving episodes, but only 1 Halloween episode. I wonder, why is that? Did none of the writers have like real life Halloween stories to share, or?
We didn't feel like we needed to do any more after that one, which we thought pretty good.
It was great. It's one of my Halloween traditions, every year. What's your favorite Halloween memory as a kid?
Candy.
Yeah, there we go.
I remember being a little kid.
Yeah.
So I was born in Queens like you. Only lived there till I was 2, so I don't really have memories of Queens.
Yeah.
But then we lived in Riverdale in the Bronx. And I do have memories of trick-or-treating and thinking, when you see on TV the kids go to different houses, oh, that's kind of a fantasy. Wonder what it would be like to go to different houses. However, an apartment building
Yeah.
is super easy to collect a lot of candy.
Yeah.
And if you're really greedy, you go to the next apartment
There
building.
we go.
And now you've doubled your input.
That's a profit right there.
The apartment building trick-or-treat is awesome.
That's the main hustle.
Yes.
Yeah. I
So
love
that's
it.
my main memory.
Would you be able to tell us, at least in your imagination, whatever really did happen to Nemo after Marco made him go away?
He go away.
And we'll leave it there.
That's it.
You go away.
I know that the dog who was playing Shamsky passed away.
Yes.
And that's why he wasn't in the show anymore.
That's right. Why didn't we address it?
Yeah.
Too sad, man.
That's a good answer.
It's too sad.
It
Who
is-
wants to do the dog died episode?
It is too sad. You're right.
We just ignored it.
Yeah. I guess that's honestly much better. It is too sad.
Life's hard enough.
Yeah.
The way we ended the show, the series,
Yeah.
was just in the middle of their lives. Nobody moved away.
Yeah.
Nobody died. Nobody, no big, huge change.
That's
We
why I
felt
think
that
it was the best. Yeah.
The episode touched on how much we care about each other.
Yeah.
Right? With a slight scare that something might happen to Raymond.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was all about love and laughter.
Yeah.
And you know what the last line of the series is? There's some ad-libbing after the official last line.
Yeah.
When we go to black.
Yeah.
And you hear some of the chatter around breakfast.
Yeah.
But the official last line of the show is, "We need a bigger table."
Yes. Yeah.
That's the message.
Beautiful.
And I was saying in the past few years, instead of a wall, how about a table?
How about a table? Wow. That's a quote.
We need a bigger table.
Can we assume that Robert was able to get Ray another Muhammad Ali letter?
Nope.
Damn it. God damn it. Oh, wow.
Those things are rare and special.
Yeah. Okay.
You still need my mother to cover for you when you destroy my letters from Muhammad Ali?
Is Deborah's sister still in Zaire? Are we to assume that she became a nun and stuck to it?
I think she stuck to it.
Okay.
I think so. I think that's what we intended. anything can happen.
I want a sister. Not a sister, a sister.
Deborah's brajol, was that inspired by any real life brajol?
I know it to be a great dish.
But have you had any brajol like
That's as good as that?
That's as good as what you described that as?
Yes, I think it was in a restaurant in Little Italy, and I could be wrong about this, but if memory serves, and I'm going back, 30, 40 years now.
Yeah.
I think there was a restaurant called Benito's 2.
Okay.
Not Benito's 1.
Benito's 2.
So the people from Benito's 1 sold Benito's 1
Yeah.
to other people. They went on to create Benito's
Benito's
2.
2? Wow.
So the original people are actually at Benito's 2, not Benito's 1. I don't know if either of them are still in Little Italy. Your listeners can
We'll
tell
have to
us.
check.
Yeah.
We'll have to check.
Yeah.
You ain't got to make nothing else but that brajo.
Do you have a favorite episode?
I have a lot. I the first ones that are coming to mind are How They Met, which was a flashback episode, how Ray and Deborah met.
Yeah.
Because that's a kind of staple of sitcoms, going back, doing a flashback about an origin story.
Yeah.
I thought we did a good job with that.
Amazing job. That's when he was delivering the futon with Gianni, right? That one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the finale
Amazing.
that we
finale.
just talked about,
Yeah.
because it ends in a way that we were happy with.
And it's comforting. It's a comforting ending.
And then I love the Italy episode, because there's a straight line from that episode to what I do now.
That's so true. Over the course of the show, Ray crossed over with Cosby, King of Queens, The Nanny,
Yep.
Becker. When that stuff happens, were you consulted and did they need your approval, or was it more like, we own the IP and we think this is good for promotion, so we're going to do it?
They never had to ask permission, because we were all too happy to do it.
Yeah.
It's a way to get publicity for your show
Yeah.
at a time when all those other shows you just mentioned had big stars in them.
Yeah.
We didn't have any.
Right.
So it was, we were happy to do it. Except King of Queens. He actually started on our show.
That's right.
So we did it. Of course, we were happy to
You
do
did like
it,
a vice
because Ray
versa.
and Kevin were friends.
Right. Did you have input into those plot lines or to say like, hey, let me
Tiny
see
bit.
the screenplay to
Tiny
make sure?
bit.
Okay.
Tiny bit. We wanted, obviously, to protect the characters, but we worked in conjunction with the writers of those shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. In your opinion, if we were to pick up right now in the life of the Barones,
Yes.
Is Ray still a sports writer at Newsday? Has technology affected that for him? Is Robert retired now? Where do you think the Barones are today?
Well, sadly, some of them are dead.
That's correct.
So there's that, which answers another question that you might have. Why isn't there a reboot of that show? I don't want to revisit it, because I never like the shows that do it. They're not as good as the original,
Right.
ever. I've
Yeah.
never seen one
Yeah.
that's as good. So I don't want to do it. I want you to remember them as they were.
The way it was, yeah.
They're still available to you.
Yeah.
And you can watch them, and there's 210.
As indeed I do.
So you don't have to miss them. They're
Yeah.
there. We don't tell football players when they're 75, go
To do it
suit
again.
up and get out there and tackle each other,
Yeah.
right? There's just certain things that are best left alone.
Yeah.
That said, I would imagine, if I had to imagine what the surviving characters are doing, I would think that we thought of a spinoff
Really?
right away. We thought Robert's going to retire,
Yeah.
and he's going to move to Pennsylvania and live near Monica's family, Amy's family,
Oh my God.
because we had a great family there.
You did,
we
yeah.
had Fred Willard, Georgia Engel,
Yeah.
and Chris Elliott as her brother.
Amazing, yeah.
That would have been a good show,
It would have been a great show.
a spinoff. CBS didn't want it.
That's so crazy. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna follow up on that. Okay, so this question is from my mother. I spoke to her yesterday, right? So I was very excited. I was like, Mom, tomorrow I'm going over to Phil Rosenthal's house. He invited me over to record the podcast. You got anything you want me to ask him? And my mother says, ask him why Ray is so obsessed with sex.
That's hilarious. You'd have to ask Ray Romano.
Okay. I love that answer.
Like a sex maniac.
What? What does that even mean?
You touched upon the idea of a reboot, which I absolutely agree with your stance there. I'm curious, though, have you guys ever been approached, or would you ever do a reunion the way that HBO Max
Yes.
has done for Friends?
Yes, happy to do that anytime.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, putting it out in the universe now.
Yeah.
Okay. HBO Max. Earlier, you were talking about the spinoff, and so I wanted to ask you, I've heard you say Ray ends in 2005, 9 years after it started.
Yeah.
And you come out and it's a different business than you entered. And that's part of it. They didn't want the sitcom. I'm assuming it's because, as you've mentioned before, they wanted things that were hip and edgy, and it wasn't hip and edgy.
You got it.
What specifically did they mean by hip and edgy? And do you recall any like particular notes, for example, even on that spinoff, where the notes you were getting about what to do with the show, like those particular things made you think to yourself, like, all right, this is not my scene right now?
So they wanted Friends.
Okay.
They wanted a show with cool, young, pretty people.
Uh-huh.
And Friends, they didn't realize or couldn't articulate that Friends was the exception, not the rule.
Right.
Friends, God doesn't always give with both hands, meaning cute, sexy people are also going to be funny. That doesn't work that way in real life, because cute, sexy people never have to develop a sense of humor because they get everything anyway.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
If you look like me, you better be funny or offer something else. Right? So that's the most sitcoms that work are not necessarily populated with the beautiful people.
Yeah.
But network executives go, hey, this show was a hit with beautiful people. Let's just get beautiful people.
So they just want
because
to
you
duplicate.
can tell who's beautiful. You can't always tell who's funny.
Right.
And they can't. They don't know what's funny. They know what's beautiful.
So if you weren't presenting something that seemed like it was going to replicate what
Young,
Friends offered.
hip, and edgy. Edgy means sex. Okay?
Okay.
Hip means young.
Okay.
Okay? So
that's what they wanted.
I said, well, you got the right guy. I'm Mr. Hip and Edgy. So Raymond had trouble getting on the air the year we went on the air.
Right.
We would never have gotten on the air the year we went off the air.
Right.
The business had changed.
Yeah.
Because of Friends.
Yeah.
I'm not saying disparaging Friends. It's just they
Just the
thought
truth,
they wanted to imitate Friends. So what we got was Xeroxes of Xeroxes of that kind of show.
Yeah.
And they didn't work. Only Friends worked.
Correct.
None of the other ones did.
They came and they went. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. You said that it took about 10 years between Raymond ending and I'll Have What Phil's Having to get on there.
That's right.
But you were consistently working in terms of, you said you were writing a few pilots a year.
Yes.
I
kept trying because I thought, this is what I do.
And it's what you love.
Well, yeah. And I thought, this is what the world wants me to do.
Yeah.
And so I was wrong.
So after I'll Have What Phil's Having becomes Somebody Feeds Phil, and Somebody Feeds Phil becomes what it is now, which, by the way, something that I thought was so crazy is friends of mine that I'm excitedly telling, like, I'm going to have Phil Rosenthal on the podcast. Everyone's like, oh, from Somebody Feeds Phil. And I'm like, you guys know he fucking created Everybody Loves Raymond, right? Like, he's not just from Somebody Feeds Phil, but that's what, and it's not a bad thing that's what.
How many things do you have to be known by?
Right.
I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
Now that Somebody Feeds Phil is what it is, are you still writing multiple pilots a year, or are you still writing?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, so you still have every hope and intention of getting a scripted show back on the air.
It's not that I need to do it.
Right.
It's that I get offers to do it.
Yeah.
If I have a good idea, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it with no idea.
Of course.
I don't take every offer.
Yeah.
People come to me, you want to write a show for this person? Well, I don't really know who they are, and that's not my sensibility. I feel out of place writing a show for that kid.
Yeah.
Give me an old Jewish man and I can write that.
You got it. Yeah.
So that it's just that I can't help what my sensibility is. Now, that doesn't mean I can't team up with a younger, hipper, edgier person.
Right.
I have something I think that to offer from what I've learned from 30 plus years in the business writing.
Absolutely.
I understand character and story and structure of a sitcom. I can help a younger person with that. And I'm happy to do that. And then we do it, and they still don't want it.
Right.
I don't know what to say. I think the business is much different than what it was 25 years ago.
I was gutted to find out that there was a sitcom called The Winklers and that it didn't go. I love Henry Winkler.
Henry, it was a show based on his actual life again.
Yeah.
And we loved being together. We loved the team that we brought together. And I was very happy to do that. And then they didn't want it.
Right. And they had Dominic Lombardozzi in there.
We had the pilot. We did it.
Do you have a copy that you might show me one day?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I'd like to hear. You told Drew Barrymore that there is good pizza in LA. I want to know where.
Oh, my God. We're one of the best pizza towns in the world right now.
What's the spot?
Pizzana.
Pizzana.
Have
Okay.
you been there?
No.
Pizzeria Say, Pizzeria Bianco, Quarter Sheets,
Okay.
Prime.
Oh, you had them ready to go. Okay.
Well, it's not. It's just these are pizzas. Apollonia, right down the street.
Okay.
Crazy delicious pizzas. They're everywhere. You can get a great meal anywhere now.
Yeah.
Because I say of the internet, a kid in Iowa can see what a chef in Italy is doing and emulate it and make that pizza.
So true.
See?
Yeah. The world is a smaller place
The world
now.
is flat, they say.
Yeah.
And that means that all the information is available to everyone. So
Yeah.
that means a level playing field,
Yeah.
right? So these are the good things about the internet.
Yeah.
It really does connect us. And you can use it to send hate mail or to connect to another human being in a good way.
Yes.
Right? And to just get a recipe from somewhere.
Yeah.
And who knows? Your kid might be a chef, but you don't know until they try it,
Absolutely.
right? Or anything else in life.
Yeah.
So the internet is a world of possibilities.
Now you have your own podcast, Naked Lunch.
Naked Lunch.
What inspired you to start Naked Lunch?
So my friend David Wild has been a reporter for Rolling Stone for many years. He also writes a lot of award shows and specials. So he has many, many friends and many connections that he's made in the business, especially in music. I have a lot of friends from comedy and television and movies even. And we always go out for lunch. We've been doing this for 25 years.
Yeah.
And I always was saying at the end of each of these fabulous lunches with these great people where we learn so much and laugh, why didn't we tape this? So now we are.
Wow.
That's it. We sit and have lunch and just have a conversation just like you and me are having.
Wow.
Except I only give you water and I'm having tea.
If you could bring back one thing from the 90s, what would it be?
My parents.
Love that. Wow. And may they rest in peace. They were wonderful people. I never obviously had the pleasure of meeting them.
Well, Netflix was generous enough to let us do this tribute show.
It was
to them.
amazing.
And that's my personal favorite show for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phil, before I sign off here, I just want to say again, first of all, thank you so much for your time today. You've so graciously invited me into your home to do this.
Anytime.
And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. The way that you describe you feeling when Norman Lear calls you, that's how you made me feel when you followed me on Instagram, you DM me like, hey, loved your rap. Let's go out to dinner.
Yeah.
That's something that when I was a kid growing up in Queens, I would never have imagined to happen to me. Just watching Raymond and loving it.
Yeah.
And admiring you, admiring your work. And
That's so nice.
Thank you. That's something that really just holds a special place in my heart. So thank you, Phil.
You're welcome. And now, from that evening, here's the bill.
And until next time, I'm all grown up.
Psych.
Nice.
I'm all grown up.